Hi there, my name is Brandy Davison and I am a design team member with the Wild Hare Kits, and I'm super excited to say that I am having the great opportunity to stay on board with the Wild Hare Kits for another design season. So we go by a year, and I've had 1 year under my belt and I get to start another year, so I'm super excited. I cannot rave enough about these kits. This new design team, one of the ideas we came up with was a Crafty Tag challenge, which really centers around 12 questions to get to know us better. So each of us is either blogging or YouTubing or Instagram videoing the answers to these questions. And it's a Crafty Tag, so hashtag TWHK Crafty Tag is the hashtag, and I'll be sure to put it below if you want to follow along and get to know all of us. So a few of us are returning from either last season or many seasons before, and then we have quite a few new members, so it's going to be really fun for me to learn the other design team members, but also for you guys to get to know who's here. And there's quite the gamut of different scrapbookers. So I am traditional 12 by 12, which is mostly me, to Bible journaling, to TN, to mini books, to amazing beautiful mail, to it's gonna be a really good year. So without further ado, please bear with me. This is the first time you've seen me for real on camera. Generally you see my hands showing you different paper and stuff, and or you might be able to pinch in on some of my scrapbook layouts and see my face, but this is the first time I'm forward, so hopefully there's not a requirement for bloopers reel at the end. But anyway, here we go. So 12 questions and I'll get right to it. So the first question is, what is one thing people don't know about you? I think there's a lot of things. I think I'm mostly available on social media, which is, as we know, for most of us, is a highlight reel, and for me is quite intentional. But there's some things just kind of cumulatively that might not be on it, that might not be clear. I think while I am surrounded by kids, and a lot of my what I share for scrapbooking has kids in it, I actually don't have any of my own. My husband and I do not. We have a fur baby, as some people call it, a new puppy, but we don't have any. But I am surrounded by many and always have been, and I have a huge family. I've got a dad, a couple of stepdads, a mom, a stepmom. I have 4 brothers, 4 sisters, 2 nephews, 2 nieces, and us siblings actually range, the crew of us, from 14 to 44. So more kids to come. You can imagine all of that good stuff as people get older and get married and or have babies and or whatever. So very exciting. How did I get into scrapbooking or into crafting is the next question. I was always one of those kids who would, cut out the comics that I liked from the newspaper and, write what I liked about them and color and journal around them in like big sketchbooks as a kid. So it probably wasn't a surprise that my stepmom Crane invited me to attend a Creative Memories party when I was 19, maybe 18. So just out of high school. I still have the first layout. I refuse to get rid of it because it's a rite of passage, but yikes, mama. Actually, some of the things are coming back, like the cutting right around the people and the funky scissor edges. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, so that was my first time into it, and I loved it instantly. I loved collecting photos. I loved collecting bits, ephemera. I was always a bit of a, often called a pack rat as a kid. But I feel like pack rat is really kind of lends itself into traveler's notebook ephemera scrapbooking, so I just started early. The third question is, what is something you are excited about in the paper crafting world right now? Okay. I am so excited about the packaging technique. So amongst my family and friends, we call it smooshing because that's ultimately what you're doing. And I realize I'm 100% late to this game, that other people were doing it long before I have. But I kind of always wanted to, but didn't know how to dip my toe in. And I was collecting, stamp pads and paints and watercolors, and then kind of not taking the time to play because it felt a little bit scary. And I watched Missy Wooden videos back to back one morning and decided to go for it. And I think I've used it on every single layout since. It's definitely my go-to right now, and I am working on turning it into a cult. So my sister and our sisters in scrapbooking are now using it as well. So the smooshing or paper technique is super what I'm into right now. The fourth question is, let me just find my little notes here, sorry. The fourth question is, and I'm just opening all kinds of documents here, not actually answering the question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. So the fourth question is, what is your favorite tool for crafting? Clearly not a computer because I was just struggling there. So not a digital scrapbooker. So my favorite tool for crafting, I would say right now, being a scrapbooking crafter, I would say my tiny attacher from Tim Holtz. There is probably a staple on every layout, and if you can't see it, it's probably holding all the layers in the background together. As well as my fussy cutting scissors, and those are also a little Tim Holtz jobby. I'm addicted to fussy cutting. I did not know. When I was in grade school, like grade 4 or 5, I remember a teacher who used to ask me to fussy cut things for her so it can go on the bulletin board, and I would stay at lunch. Yes, I'm that kid. Who knew it would turn into scrapbooking? So here we are, and I'm loving it. I also secretly love that you can binge Netflix or Crave while doing it. So, you know, added bonus, time with husband while still crafting. Question 5 is, what's your favorite patterns? Okay, so if you asked me this a year ago, I would 100% have said stripes. There is no stripe Simple Stories has made that I do not love. Flash forward to being on the Wild Hare Kits design team, and Allison, who is our Epic Wild Hare leader, has decided to send me florals in some of my initial kits, and apparently now I'm a florals girl. Who knew? So now I'm actually asking for these things. So right now I'm 100% into florals. I love using a stripe to complement the florals, not by themselves anymore, which I find just absolutely hilarious. The whole Wild Hare Kits thing, to order kits that are hand curated for you, while you get to pick exactly what you want in your style profile and what you don't and don't like, there still ends up being these gems in there that really challenge your style. And I like gold and silver. Also, who knew? And I like floral. So it's been an exciting year. So if that much has changed in 1 year, it'll be exciting to see what happens in this next year. Okay, 6th question. How many complete albums do you have? Yeah, a few, but not a lot. So Traveler's Notebook. So that's something I just started last summer as part of getting into the Wild Hare Kits. I thought I would give that a go. So I have 5 of those, and some of them are like 4 or 5 in one kind of, you know, cover. I have mini albums, but those are mostly for December daily format. I'm not a good mini album pockety person. I don't get it. It just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. But I sure love flip through videos of them, so please keep those coming. And I have a traditional 12 by 12, which is my go-to layout size. I have 33. As I said earlier, I don't have kids, so my poor nephew, who I am closest to date, is going to end up with mine and all of my sister's scrapbooks, his mom. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to like pay forward a mortgage for the guy just so he's got room to keep these, and I sure hope his wife appreciates them. He's 11 right now, so we have time to prepare, but just saying, laying the groundwork early. The 7th question is, what is your favorite type of embellishment? Right now, I am super into sequins. There is nothing Spiegel Mom sequins, she cannot create something that I do not love. Like, just, I want them all. I want to put them on everything. I'm loving them. Prior to that, I would have said enamel dots, but I find I'm actually using the sequins in place of enamel dots or with them to complement it. And then, of course, die cuts. Like, there's so many die cuts out there right now. How can they not be your favorite thing? And then I've always been an alphas girl. Although as I'm making room for florals, I'm using less alphas, so I'm not, we'll see. That's also shifting. I love it. Okay, so question 8 is, what brand do you find yourself going back to? What brand do you find yourself going back to? Oh my. Okay, so crepe paper for sure. Loving the last year plus of their fun kind of girl power look and feel, feminine but tough, but also cutesy. I love it. Paige Taylor Evans, now that I have this love for florals and color, I've gone away from the Tim Holtz distress look into this like colorful Paige Taylor Evans, give me the flowers, give me the stripes, give me the stuff. I'm loving her stuff. Cocoa Vanilla Studio, I would get my hands on every collection if I could. Shipping Australia to Canada is tough, so I'm really pleased to see quite a few Canadian scrapbook companies bring the Cocoa Vanilla Studio in, including Scrap Shots, which I work with them on their design team, so that's been really, really handy to get my stuff from. Vicky Booten, I'm so into the mixed media, but not the pressure of the mixed media. I love that her collections have just random things in them, like the cutest mushrooms in the world, or you know, a bit of gold on like a really grungy looking notebook die cut. Like, it feels like a bit of dichotomy, and I had the chance to meet her at Crop and Crate with Scrapbook and Cards magazine. I want to say that was in April or May of this year, and like her collections just represent her. Like, it's all the things, it's whatever brings her joy all in one, and that seems to be who she is as well. So I also like that I'm crafting with something that seems really authentic to the designer. And Pink Fresh Studio. I love the white that Pink Fresh Studio uses. It's just so crisp, it's so clear, and I know it's weird to say there's a particular white that you like, but I know you guys know what I mean. And I just really find their cardstock like nice and thick, good value, and they just seem to kind of think of everything, big embellishments, but also the little ones to fill in the spaces, so super into them. Okay, question 9. What is your best tip for getting in the zone and being productive in Crafty? I would say getting organized, having a clean workspace, getting organized, keeping a clean workspace, and I mean on top, as you can clearly see behind me, my, I don't know, inspiration board that anything lands on there that makes me happy, but isn't being glued down at the time, gets up there. So that to me is still organized. But mostly just from a tabletop perspective. So when the mood strikes, you can even just go and match papers and you've got a spot to lay them down. I would also say keeping the new stuff on top, and the new stuff to you, not necessarily the new product. It could be something you just bought, something you rediscovered in your stash that's been missing, keeping it on top. I have these awesome gray IKEA, they're kind of like for mail organizers, and they sit on the table, and the back is like a 14 inches wide, and then there's a few slots and it gets lower and lower, and it's just 3 and it has a handle. That's where I put, like when on the design teams that I'm on, I put the kit right in there right away. It sits on my desktop. If I go on a shopping splurge, I have one that keeps all those things in there so that when I'm thumbing through, it's the latest and greatest and it makes me happy. And I still go into my stash, but I kind of want that one inspiration piece, and that gets me in my room. I want to open the packages and use them. I'm not a hoarder when it comes to stuff anymore. Thank you, Shamel, for encouraging us to use the paper we love, and Gretchen Rubin for encouraging us to spend out. Who inspires you? Oh, this is a good one. I gotta open up my full question here to answer this one. Hold on. Who inspires me? So honestly, I'm inspired by everything. I'm a huge Instagram user. That's where I spend most of my time, from getting inspiration or sharing my work perspective. And I do follow a lot of just hashtags like scrapbooking, and I don't need the big name to be inspired. I'm loving what everyone is doing. There's always some design element, some color combination, some way to put the photo, some photo that's super inspirational. But if I had to kind of admit who I get into the vortex with when it comes to YouTube or Instagram, it is 100% my secret girlfriend, Missy Whitten. She's my superhero. It is Tracy Reed, Crafty Jen Chow. I know I don't have to say crafty before Jen's name, but I always do. Tracy Fox, Scrappy Like a Fox. Whimsy Fox, so Iris. Amanda Jane Baldwin. And I'm probably going to say this wrong, Wei Wei Wang. She does these Traveler's Notebooks challenges, and she's just fabulous. And I think she's on the Hip Kit Club as well. It seems like a lot of these folks are on the Hip Kit Club. Jess Claire Creates. Oh my God, the use of white space, fabulous. Kira Gets Crafty. I could keep going. I definitely keep a watch later list on YouTube that has those folks, and like the State Goddess, and there's just so many, and there's something about what they're doing that just super inspires me. So I inspire to be like Missy Whitten, because I really want those messy string mushing paper backgrounds, but there's something from all of them that I've tried, I've lifted, I've scrap lifted, and I kind of live to scrap lift either my own past designs or anybody who's on any of the social media. Number 11, is there a new type of craft you want to try but haven't yet? I don't think there's a new craft I want to try. I'm just so happy right now to play with paper, and there's so many formats, and mixed media or not, minimalist or not, spritz or not, that I'm really happy in the scrapbooking world. What I would like to do is to sew on my layouts. So I have been wanting to do that for some time, and I finally this year broke down because we had some other stuff that needed to be sewed, and bought myself a sewing machine. I have not opened the box yet. I have had to dust it once, but I commit, oh gosh, via this YouTube video to open the box, and in August, as part of a Wild Hare Kits layout, I will sew on it. I don't even care if it's one little row at the bottom. I will sew on it layout, because I think I'm gonna just love it. I love the added texture. So yes, so that is one thing I'd like to do. It's not a new craft, just part of this craft. And then the last question is, we're at number 12 here, is, what do you hope to see in the future for paper crafting? Oh gosh, I mean, I would never have thought of llamas, meerkats, and avocados on scrapbook pages, and that all came out. So I don't think I'm in the position to come up with stuff. Um, I think if I had to think of something I hope that doesn't go away or we see more of, I would say botanicals. So not just the florals, but the actual like the stems and the leaves. I do a lot of hiking, and I have a lot of, you know, the last 5 years, big hiking trips, international hiking trips that I need to put to paper. And the florals are good, but they're kind of too colorful and a bit too feminine. And I hate saying feminine because I hate that whole feminine masculine thing, but you know what I mean. Read into that. But I do want something that represents that I'm outside, that I'm in nature. And I love the botanical pieces that come, like the leaves and the stems. And a shout out to like Crepe Paper, Vicky Booten, Pink Fresh Studio, Paige Taylor Evans, that they've either got floral collections that come with botanical or sometimes are just botanical. Like Pink Fresh Studio has this way of creating like kind of solely botanical 12 by 12 papers, and I absolutely love it. So hopefully I think that will continue or flourish a little bit, because that would make me happy. Yeah, so that's me. That's the 12 questions of getting to know us better here at the Wild Hare Kits on the design team. Thank you for bearing with me for this video. This is my first go, so always something to learn, and I really, really look forward to your comments. We will be using the hashtag. I'll put the details below, as well as make sure there's links to the Wild Hare Kits blog post that will have links to each of the design team members, either YouTube video, Instagram video, or Instagram account where they have their video or their written blog post. And we'd love to hear your answers. So if you do feel like answering these 12 questions, they'll be in the blog post. I'd love to see them below in comments. I'd love to see them on social media. Just tag us, because we'd also like to get to know you better. And there you go. That is me. So have a great August, and I will have lots of layouts to share soon with my fabulous August kit that I did my unboxing video of yesterday, and it is so good. Nice to meet all of you.